A lot of kids walked out of school and wound up in the war. And a lot of those kids at Pearl Harbor that are down in that ship, Arizona, skipped school. And when I speak to high school, they'll all come up to me afterwards, and some of the fellows will say, how could you do that? How could you leave everything and go off to war? I said, so you can stand there and tell me what you just said. My dad did it. That's the way it is. Young men fight wars, not older men. They won't do it. It takes young men. And we were crazy. And if speaking for the Corps, they made me worse crazy.
True devil dog. And then how was being drafted?
But you know, everybody went to war. Our sisters, our mothers, everybody went to war in the factories. That's how we produced so doggone fast and furnished 3 allied companies, plus ourselves. And if it weren't for them, we'd have never won the war.
No, I truly agree on that.
Amen. They put a lot of airplanes out.
Yeah.
They did a lot. That was part of recovering the economy at that point.
Yes.
The amount of jobs and everything that came from the manufacturing, and we need beans, bullets, airplanes, and ship it overseas as fast as possible.
You asked the question, what made us, or when did we go in? We were in a car, the 3 of us. Buddies, we grew up together, went off to war and came home. The 3 of us are sitting there, we're all 16 years old. Had a blanket us around us, right in Detroit. The day after Pearl Harbor. And we're sitting there listening to the big bands. Oh, we love the big bands. Then all of a sudden the announcer came on, ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt this broadcast. The President of the United States will address the nation. And we were sat like this, and on came our hero. When I heard this speech, I went downtown Detroit to the recording office, and I had 35 cents to buy a recording with his speech on it 2 weeks later.
No doubt.
It was hot. Everybody bought it. I don't know where it's at now. But this is what he said, and we're listening. Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date that will live in infamy. United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked upon in the naval armed forces of Japan. I interpret the will of Congress and of the people. We will gain triumphant victory, so help us God. I said, tomorrow morning I'm skipping school and going to join the Marine Corps. They said, you can't, you got to be 17. I'm going down and get the paper. They said, your mom's not going to sign it. Oh, yes, she will. No, she's not going to sign that paper. Your dad will. He was a Marine in the First War. Well, 6 months went by. I was 17. We had a birthday party. I ran out that door, ran all the way downtown Detroit, 1 mile. I ran all the way up the stairs in the Federal Building on the 4th floor. I walked towards the wall. Here's the gunny sergeant standing there. He said, what can I do for you, young man? I said, I want to sign up. He said, how old are you? I said, 16. He says, I can't take you. You got to be 17. Well, I said, I only got 6 months to go. He said, when you get to be 17, come back and see me and we can do business. Well, now I'm there. And he says, well, how did you do? I says, I got it. He said, did your mother sign? Yes. He said, how did you get her to sign? My dad said, Vera, come over here. I just signed this. Sign that. That was my mother's name. She says, I'm not signing that. I went through this First World War. I'm not going through this again. He said, Vera, let me talk to you. The boy walks out of school. He's doing menial jobs. He'll probably turn out to be a bum. Sign the paper. When I heard that, I did this to my mother.
You did the sad face?
She said, give me the pen. Ran back down. That's when the gunny sergeant met me. And 2 weeks later, I was in the Corps.
Gonna be a bum. Al, what was it like getting drafted? That would be, we don't know what that's like, period. Being voluntold to do something is a crazy thing, and to serve during that time period, any time period with like volunteers versus like you're forced to join. So how was that on your like, oh, well, I'm doing war.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound too good, does it?
No. But it was, well, completely meaningless to me at that time until I got into the raising my right hand and say, I do. And well, I was a little runt. I weighed 127 pounds. So I had qualms about what I could do. They told me what I could do. And I did it. So the boot camp was an eye opener too. It really was. And being in the Navy, they even had boats for rowing, and I was a little shrimp, so they had me as a coxswain. So I did the stroke. I didn't have to pull the oar.
So, Al, did they come to you one day and say, "Hey, you're in the Navy now"?
No. The we got a right after we got the notice, we got a notice of where to meet, get on the bus, and take you downtown to Buffalo, and they signed us in there. There was no leading up to anything. It says, this is it, and that's what you got. That's what you do.
So you didn't get to choose your branch. They just told you, hey, well, you're doing this now.
No, I chose a branch.
Okay.
Smart man. He was like, Navy. What was the turnaround time from letter received to, hey, you have to report to duty station? Or to
Well,
MEPS?
they what they did is they sent me a notice that there's going to be a bus waiting for you, and all the draftees, and we went from there into Buffalo and got signed in.
Holy moly. So it was like a week or?
Yeah.
How much time did you have before the notice and meeting? Like, how much time did you have to tell your family bye, get your stuff in order?
Oh, 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Damn.
What were you doing at the time? Like, what job were you doing at the time?
I was still in school.
Oh, okay. So they just said, you're in the Navy now. Report in 2 weeks.
Yes. And I got to the bus, and here was the mayor of my village was there too, and he had 5 kids.
Holy. And were 5 kids there with?
No.
Oh, I was
no,
like,
no,
dang.
no.
The mayor's like, damn it. Here we go.
Yeah, right. So he ended up with LSTs in Europe, and I ended up, well, I had put in for aviation. I wanted to fly. And, well, I went in 44, and the Air Force said, sorry, we're not hiring pilots anymore. So I said, well, then I think I'll check the Navy, because I don't have to sleep in a foxhole in
Smart
the
man,
rain.
Smart man.
Don's like, shut up. He's like, it was a comfortable foxhole.
You know, listening to him, I thought of something. After 8 weeks, now normally in the Marine Corps, boot camp is 12 weeks. But because of the amount of young men we had, they made it short. We did everything that they do in 12. We did it in 8 weeks. They worked the life out of us. But there's something that I learned and I think he would agree to this. When they got done with 8 weeks in boot camp, how many weeks did you have?
About 8 weeks.
8 weeks, okay. when they got through with us in boot camp, we had a ceremony. We were all lined up, and the band came out, Marine Corps band. And when they played, if you had a camera, you'd never see a dry eye. We looked at that flagpole and saw all glory go up. For the first time in my life, I felt like a young man that had a responsibility in the front of me
I got to go along with it.
to get my country squared away. We all felt, we went back to our tents after, and we discussed that. But we were still teenagers.